On the edge of a small seaside town stood a blue house with a crooked mailbox. An old man named Walter lived there alone. Every afternoon, Walter walked to the harbor carrying a loaf of bread. The fishermen knew him well. They would wave and he would smile and toss crumbs to the gulls circling overhead. Years earlier, Walter had made that same walk with his daughter. Lily, she loved the ocean. She would run ahead laughing while he pretended he couldn't catch her. Before she left for college, they made a promise. No matter where life took her, they would meet at the harbor on the first day of every summer. For many years, they kept that promise. Then one winter, Lily was killed in a car accident. The next summer came anyway. Walter woke early, bought a loaf of bread, and walked to the harbor. He sat on the same bench where they had always met. He waited until sunset. The following year, he returned, and the year after that. The fishermen watched him grow older. His hair turned white. His steps became slower. But every first day of summer, he arrived with a loaf of bread and sat on the bench facing the sea. One evening, a young fisherman finally asked, "Why do you still come here?" Walter looked at the empty space beside him. "Because a promise doesn't disappear when someone does," he said softly. Years passed. One summer morning, Walter did not come. The fishermen grew worried and visited the blue house. They found it quiet and still. Walter had passed away peacefully in his sleep the night before. On the kitchen table sat a fresh loaf of bread and a note. It read, "I might be late today, Lily. Save me a seat." The townspeople buried Walter on a hill overlooking the harbor. On the first day of summer, many of them gathered at the bench. They brought bread and shared stories of the man who never broke a promise. And as the gulls wheeled above the water, the bench no longer seemed empty. People liked to imagine that somewhere beyond the horizon, a father had finally arrived, and a daughter who had been waiting for him all those years stood up, smiling and said, "You're late."